Okay, our winning crew chief has joined us, and that's Gil Martin, crew chief for the number 29 Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet Richard Childress Racing. Gil, congratulations. This one has to feel good.
Feels great. Been close here a lot of times at Talladega, and not only that, a lot of plate races. To finally get a plate race, especially with Kevin, it feels great.
All right, we'll take some questions for Gil Martin. We'll start over here with Tom and then Mike, and then work our way around. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Gil. Tom Jensen, SpeedTV.com. Coming in a year when your driver's in his free agent season and you're looking for a sponsor to replace Shell Pennzoil, and you haven't won as an organization since 2008, how significant, how big is this for the whole organization? What kind of lift will it give you?
Well, I just think it shows everybody exactly what we were talking about going into the season, that the team, we really restructured a lot of things this winter, and all of us have been strong. The 31, the 33 have been strong. Everybody's running up front. I hate what happened to the 31 today because he also had an extremely strong car. But with everything that's going on, I think this just shows everybody. I hate that Shell Pennzoil is leaving, but the fact of the matter is we've got a top-notch team, and so we're looking for somebody to come on board and start the next chapter at RCR with them.
Cool. What's that? Mike is dead. We'll come back over. We got one over here.
Mike Muller, MikeMuller.net. What about the gas situation? This thing went 200 laps. How do you plan for that? Were you just lucky? Did you have any gas at the end?
Well, I mean, you don't really plan for it, but what you do is we knew right at the end, we stretched it one extra lap on everybody on that last green-white checker. I think the lap was 147. And we knew at that point that we had 5 laps to spare for a green-white checker. But what you can't factor in is how many laps that it's going to go during each one of those cautions. So immediately when that caution came out, I can't remember the lap, you'll have to help me, 182 or something. We just immediately started telling Kevin to save fuel. It's cutting the engine off. And it's hard to factor how much fuel that actually saves. But every time we ran a caution lap, you're looking at 2 to 1. So we knew we had it bumped up to around lap 200. We were just glad that last caution was a pretty fast cleanup. I think it was to our benefit. The nationwide race was today because everybody was really, the cleanup guys were on their job.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead here. Mike and then Don. Dwight.
Mike Hembry, SpeedTV.com. Gil, Kevin talked about the timing of that move and practicing it in practice on Friday. What kind of role did you play in all that? Were you just out of it? Were you quiet last few laps, or could you kind of help Kevin determine when he should try to make that pass?
I'd like to say that I taught him how to do that, but I can't do that. But we had a strategy before the race started, and that every year here we usually race up front, try to put on the show, lead a lot of laps, and race up front. We end up crashed. So today we knew that we were going to race conservatively in the beginning and then try to about lap 50 get going. Well, a couple of points during the race, he made that move, somewhat made that move, so he knew what he had to do. And I think if you go back and listen to any of the transcripts with about 15 or 20 to go, he pretty well called that move. That he told our spotter we wanted to be second. We were running with Kyle Busch at that time, but he wanted to be second coming into the tri-oval because we knew once that we went to the left side of him that the air was going to catch that car in the front, and we ought to be able to side draft down the hill of the tri-oval to the start finish, and that's exactly what happened.
Go ahead, Don.
Yes, Gil, about that pass, though, is it nerve-wracking to know that he has to wait so long to make that pass? I mean, not yet, and, and it all just came out so perfectly?
It's extremely nerve-wracking because we were worried about trying to make that pass. We were worried about running out of fuel, and you're also worried about running out of fuel with somebody right on your rear bumper, too, because that could have caused some kind of calamity. But the fact of the matter is, and I hate to show my age, but that was a tremendous pass, just like the old days. You'd have seen Buddy Baker or Cale Yarborough or anybody do here. That was a tremendous pass, and it was timed perfectly. And I have to applaud the whole deal because the cars were able to slingshot and pass like that. When they pulled out with the wing, we kind of stalled out, but with the spoiler, the cars could get the side draft that we've been able to get in the past few years here and just able to propel you right by the next car. It wouldn't last but about half a lap or maybe not even that far, half a straightaway, but at least it still worked.
Let's go upstairs for a question, and then we'll come back down here. Go ahead from the press box.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Congratulations, Gil. Got to ask you, I mean, obviously Roush has their teammates over at RPM. Hendrick has their teammates over at SHR. At the beginning of the race, the 29, back down with the 33 and the 1 and the 42. It looks like you guys had a plan, but it also looks like you guys have found teammates with your ECR, I guess, engine connection. Can you kind of address that and how they've been able to help you guys?
Well, I think it's worked out well because of the fact that we all are communicating, well together. We really didn't set out to have that plan at the start of the race, but I think as the spotters started communicating with one another and each pit box started communicating with one another, we pretty well knew, just because of our ties with the engine shop, that anything that we told them that we were going to do, we pretty well did, and they did the same thing. So they wanted to go racing a little bit earlier than what we wanted to, because I think they took off with about 60 to go or something like that. And we weren't quite ready to go at that time, so we kind of hung back a little bit. And there were several of the guys that rode with us right there. Clint did a good job riding with us, and it just able to get us back to the front.
All right, let's come back downstairs. Questions for Gil Martin? Let's go with Dwight and then Mike.
Dwight Drum, racestake.com. Gil, Kevin mentioned that this was a plan, and it seems that your plans are working pretty well this year. You're staying at the top, for most of the season. Let me ask you, is it the plan that you guys do? You have time to go over these things, or is it the next race starts to come along, you got to start working on that next plan?
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, however how you want to look at it, we've been together tied at the hip for almost 3 weeks. By the time we had the extended stay in Texas, left straight from Texas to the Indy tire test, and then straight to here, we've had a lot of opportunities to play this race out, whereas in the past, maybe we haven't formulated a plan like we did today. But I wish I had it on paper, everything that we talked about, because I don't think it could have happened more picture perfect than everything happened today. It was just one of those days that whatever we tried to do, it actually worked. The only thing of the whole day that didn't work is when we drafted with the 11 to the front. I think the 6 kind of got in the mix, hung us out, and we went all the way back to 18th or 19th before that last pit stop. That kind of threw a little bit of wrench into some of the things we were doing. But for the most part, everything went exactly to plan, and those days don't happen very much.
Other questions? Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Muller, MikeMuller.net. You're pretty vocal. I guess a lot of guys are about repaving at Daytona. Perhaps it's not going to it's going to change the racing at Daytona. This is the kind of package you could have at Daytona for the 500 next year, and this is the kind of racetrack you're going to be racing on. But it's going to be narrower. Can you talk about the Daytona 500 next year and from what you saw today in this particular aerodynamic and play package?
Well, I think as far as the package is going to work well at Daytona. The only thing that I like seeing about the Daytona track is just the fact that the track is wore out, and it goes down to you've got to make the cars handle. Here it's a big strategy race, and the drivers have really got to play a chess game the whole time, exactly what they're doing. At Daytona, you've got to get your car to handle. It's not just about pure speed, because you do have to get in and out of the throttle a lot. So I just hope if they do repave it, and that's what they do, that they use some asphalt that'll grain up really fast, and instead of being the smooth, slick asphalt, I hope it keeps the bumps and just fixes the holes.
Anything else for Gil Martin? Okay, Gil, thanks for being in here today, and congratulations on the win.
All right, thank you.
Good job.